If you're hanging out on this channel, you probably don't need to be reminded that student debt is a huge problem in the United States, especially private student loan debt. While most of the debt is held by the federal government, a substantial portion of it is held by private banks and other private lenders like the student loan refinancers SoFi and Earnest. Statistics are always changing. It's estimated there is about $100 billion in outstanding private student loan debt. And while some borrowers take out only a few $1,000s in private loans to cover any expenses federal loans won't cover, others end up with a heavy private debt burden ranging from $20,000 to $200,000. Federal student loans are hard to get forgiven, but at least some programs for loan forgiveness, like the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, do exist, even if it's hard to qualify for them. For borrowers with private student loans, though, it's somewhere between difficult and impossible to get those loans forgiven. In this video, we'll share what you need to know about private student loan forgiveness. Hey everyone, this is Andy with The College Investor, investing in personal finance for millennials. If you're new to the channel and like what you hear today, please hit subscribe so you're ready when our next video comes out. Thanks. Okay, why is it so hard to get private student loans forgiven? It's because private lenders don't really have any incentive to forgive them, basically. And private lenders also have a lot of recourse to collect on your loans if you don't pay. The federal government does want its loans repaid, but it's also a little more responsive to pressure from constituents, and it does want people to go into public service and teaching. Hence, the loan forgiveness programs directed at those borrowers. Private lenders don't really care what you do with your education as long as they get paid back. And since private lenders know borrowers likely won't be able to get their loans discharged in bankruptcy, which would be another kind of forgiveness, they don't have any reason to offer any kind of forgiveness or even a modification. That doesn't mean they won't work with you at all, but it does mean they're most likely not going to erase any of the debt as part of that plan. You might be asking, is there any way to have private student loans forgiven? The short answer is yes, but don't get your hopes up unless you're in a specific circumstance, which most are pretty unpleasant. Number one, death, specifically the borrower's death. This is pretty rough to think about, but many private loans do have terms written so that the debt will be forgiven upon providing proof of the primary borrower's death. If you're a co-signer on a loan and the primary borrower dies, you'll need to consult the terms of the loan to see if this applies to you. You'll probably have to speak to the lender and provide a copy of the borrower's death certificate, perhaps along with some other paperwork. For example, SoFi is a private lender that does release the cosigner in the event of a borrower's death. However, many other private student loan lenders do not. That's one of the big reasons why most borrowers with private student loans should take out a life insurance policy, especially if there is a cosigner you need to protect. Number two, permanent disability. A few private lenders offer forgiveness if the primary borrower becomes completely and permanently disabled. More lenders offer forgiveness for death than for disability. If your lender doesn't offer forgiveness for disability, your cosigner may still be on the hook for paying back the debt. Check the terms of your loan and call your lender and ask. Other than Sallie Mae, Wells Fargo, Discover, and the New York State Higher Education Services Corporation, most private lenders do not offer this option. But they're big lenders, so your private loans may well be with one of them. It's always good to check anyway. Number three, if you got scammed, maybe. It is illegal for a school to, for example, promise a certain salary on graduation, or a certain type of job, or make other false claims that encourage you to take out loans you otherwise would not have taken out. During the Obama administration, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the United States Department of Education took a variety of legal actions against for-profit colleges that made these kinds of illegal promises. Corinthian College's campuses were forced to close in 2015 after being crippled by fines for making false promises for years. They are one of the best-known college scams, but there are others. If you took out federal loans to attend a Corinthian College's school, like Everest College, Heald College, or WyoTech, you are probably eligible for a loan discharge. Although it's easier to get these federal loans discharged, you may also be able to get your private debt discharged as well. For example, Corinthian colleges gave out hundreds of millions of dollars in private Genesis loans. If you have one of those, you may well be eligible to have it forgiven under a recent settlement with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. If so, you should have received a letter detailing your eligibility, and many have already received forgiveness. If you think you're eligible but didn't receive a letter, try contacting your loan servicer and asking, or call the CFPB and file a complaint. Another well-publicized settlement is with DeVry University. The FTC sued DeVry University for a variety of deceptive practices, including a misleading claim that 90% of their graduates found employment in their field within 6 months of graduation, and another that DeVry University graduates would earn 15% more than graduates from other colleges. In 2017, they reached a settlement that included DeVry University agreeing to discharge private student debt that it had issued between September 2008 and September 2015. However, this doesn't include loans from private banks that you took out to attend DeVry University. Basically, if you attended a school that made fraudulent claims, there may be an avenue for discharge. But it's best to speak with a lawyer about your situation to see if there's a chance of moving forward. Recently, Navient settled a lawsuit involving private loans issued to borrowers who went to a private college, forgiving about $4 billion in student loan debt. It can happen, but it's not easy. Number 4, if your lender can't prove they actually own the loan. Again, maybe. As you may have heard, a lot of debt taken out before the financial crisis and the Great Recession was sold around to other lenders with really shoddy paperwork processes. The National Collegiate Student Loan Trust, a group of companies in Delaware, holds a lot of this old debt and has been known to sue borrowers to collect the debt. In the process, it has been seen in some cases that they may not have been able to prove they really owe the debt due to missing paperwork, which means it's not collectible. What are some other options that you might have? You probably have 2 main options for private student loans that can't be forgiven. Number 1, forbearance. This is a temporary status that allows you to put off paying back your loan for an unspecified amount of time, usually up to 12 months. Typically, you have to show that you have financial hardship or that you have lost a job recently. And interest will keep accruing while you're in forbearance as well. So it's not great. But it will give you time to get yourself together and prevent you from going further into default. Number 2, refinancing. If you have enough income to make payments, but you're struggling under the weight of the payments you've got, you might be a good candidate for refinancing your loans. Private student loans often carry very high interest rates, and if you could reduce a 9% or 12% interest rate to a 3% or 4% interest rate, you could make your payments far more manageable. You might also be able to stretch out your term of repayment from 10 to 20 years or some other number, which might make it more plausible that you can afford regular payments. You can use Credible to compare the top lenders in minutes. Plus, College Investor viewers and readers can get up to a $1,000 bonus if you refinance. We'll put a link in the description. Number 3, bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is another option, but it's not an easy path either. There's a myth that student loan borrowers cannot get their student loans discharged in bankruptcy, but that's not true. Bankruptcy is an option, but you have to meet strict criteria, specifically the Bruner test. This states that you must have an undue hardship from your loans, which is very vague. However, recent court cases have been trying to make it easier for borrowers by defining what this means and providing examples of what judges and courts are allowing. As such, if you're facing a huge burden from your private loans, it could make sense to speak to a lawyer who understands these options and can see if this is an option for you. In the end, private student loan debt is really hard to get out of. You have fewer legal protections than federal student borrowers do, and procedures for appealing and fighting back against your lender that is less clear. But if you've attended the for-profit institutions represented by Corinthian colleges and DeVry University, you may have some other avenues for relief. However, when it comes to getting help with your private loans, make sure you don't fall for student loan scams. There are a lot of people that prey on student loan borrowers who are struggling financially. If your problem is that you've got a legit degree, but your income just isn't up to meeting the loan burden, you'll probably have to pursue other options like forbearance or refinancing instead of hoping for forgiveness. It's bad news, but unless the law changes on bankruptcy discharge, it's the truth. You can also look at side hustling to boost your income during this time as well. We have a great video on this channel with the best side hustles that allow you to earn a decent income on your terms. So, what do you think? Are you struggling with your private student loans? Please let us know in the comments below. This is Andy from The College Investor, and we'll see you in the next video.